Good evening, good afternoon, good morning. It's now getting on to 2 months, since Blessed Geza and his four war veteran friends appeared on their social media screens telling Mnangagwa to go, dismissing his regime as corrupt, incompetent, and must go. He promised the people that he'll send them a signal. And one assumes that that signal was to let them know when the people should come out in the street in support of the so-called Geza Revolution. I think it is worth a while to ask, where are we? Benjamin, where are we with this Geza Revolution?
Good day to you and good day to our viewers. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, it's a good question to ask. Where are we and where is the signal? For me, it's very difficult to understand what exactly the signal was to be and what we were supposed to do because nothing was really explained in detail about what was the next move and why we are going to be doing what we need to be said to do. There wasn't really any communication. But my guess is, like you said, was supposed to show solidarity with with the five war veterans and the Chiwenga faction, you know, to to side with them. Whatever they are doing, we are supposed to do as well, which doesn't really, you know, bring out the purpose and define what will be the next move. So basically, you know, it's just go and see and hope for the best.
I think one of the objectives of the so-called Geza Revolution was that Mnangagwa has failed and he should resign. And the second one, which is equally important, was to stop Mnangagwa amending the constitution to push through his idea that he should be allowed to stay on until 2030. So the people were supposed to come out in the street to support the Geza Revolution. First of all, to get Mnangagwa to go before even 2028. But failure to do that at least achieved the objective of stopping him, amending the constitution so that he could stay in office beyond 2028. I think that was understood by most people. The truth of the matter is, people did not understand what came afterwards. I still believe that many people would be of the same view as in the 2017, that having stopped Mnangagwa amending the constitution, and better still, forcing him to leave office before 2028, will finally deliver the Zimbabwe that we all want. a democratic Zimbabwe. I don't think that was ever in Geza and his colleagues' mind. Their view was no different from the 2017. Once you've achieved the first objective of getting Mnangagwa out, they were going to say Chiwenga should be president. Some of them talked of, oh, we will have a government of national unity, but it will be headed by Chiwenga. And that government of national unity, they said, will implement democratic reforms. And they've also made the position clear that the war veterans, the army, will have veto on what reforms are implemented. I think those are the things that some people have failed to understand. And I don't think those objectives will ever be achieved.
We can't say people do not understand what is going to happen after, when video clips from the press conferences, or the meeting with Geza, said everything. I mean, he made it very clear that, do you expect that us as war veterans, we will all die before any one of us takes office? And then he goes on to swear and all that. He made it very clear. So we cannot then say, we did not understand, when the message is loud and clear. The war veterans want their turn at the table. That is what is supposed to happen next. Who their candidate is exactly, he refused to say. But, everything points to say Chiwenga is the next, person in line. He's the next war veteran. So we cannot then deny that fact. And it goes on to say, it is our turn at the dinner table. We want to sit there and have a turn to eat of that feast. That is what he said. So we cannot then say we did not hear that part when we heard the part for the signal. That would be just selective bias. We know what Geza and his comrades want, and that is their turn. I don't know exactly what we will get from there. That is the question. What were we expecting to get from such an arrangement?
Well, I've got to agree with you there. This is actually the video clip that you're referring to.
Are you against the 2030 slogan?
Yeah, I'm very much against. I think from my last interview, now that this is bullshit. This is bullshit.
But you yes.
Fighters. Topera pasakana one way up in the State House. Unaona zviri normal izvo.
But you were two guys. Robert Kapio Mugabe was your guy.
Ah, fuck off, man.
Mnangagwa was your guy.
Iwe. When we say my war veterans, wanzwe ndikutara zvakawanda. Wanzwe, right? Our man nationalists, ndotaura my war veterans.
What's the difference?
I'm not prepared to expand. Yeah. Iwega unofana kufunga kuti.
Well, the truth of the matter is that the same war veterans are the ones who imposed Mnangagwa in 2017. And before that, they're the ones who imposed Robert Gabriel Mugabe since 1980. Our political system is rotten to the core. And this is why we are blundering from pillar to post. It's incapable of correcting itself. We have war veterans who, ever since the country's independence in 1980, have felt that they have the veto on who rules the country. Whereas ordinary Zimbabweans have a vote, which, if it happens not to coincide with what the war veterans themselves want, then they will veto it. This is why Zimbabwe has had elections for the last 45 years, but has not been able to change the regime. As much as they wanted to change it, they could not change it because the war veterans had the veto. That is the problem here. And I totally agree with you. The Geza Revolution is only meant, at the end of the day, to replace Mnangagwa with Chiwenga. We're just replacing one dictator with another. This is not getting us anywhere. We did that in 2017. Look where it got us. And that is what we keep repeating. That is the problem here. We are just repeating the same failed solution. The war veterans themselves are the ones who imposed the dictatorship on the nation. And instead of acknowledging that the ZANU-PF dictatorship has failed, they are the ones who keep coming up with solutions and imposing those solutions. This dictator has failed. We want him out. And we'll replace him. We know who is the right person to rule. And in this particular case, it really is a fight for power, nothing else. As much as Geza and his friends, ever since that media video where they were dismissing and calling for Mnangagwa to go, the truth of the matter is they have only used the people suffering as the basis for demanding that Mnangagwa must go. However, their solution has also been very clear. When Mnangagwa goes, they'll replace him with Chiwenga. How that can be a solution beggars belief.
You know, Wilbert, we might as well agree to say the war veterans, or we are giving the war veterans the power to determine Zimbabwe's next president. Not only did we do that in 2017 when we replaced, when they replaced Mugabe with, to give us Mnangagwa, and now they want to replace Mnangagwa to give us Chiwenga. we are basically now giving away our right to a meaningful vote or a meaningful say in who governs Zimbabwe. We are acknowledging that the war veterans now have that power to determine on our behalf who rules or who takes the seat as president. If we agree to say we are waiting for a signal and what they determine their candidate and we take the signal as is, I can safely say we as a people have just given away our right to a meaningful say through an election process. Period. There's no negotiating and there's no watering down there. It is done. The war veterans from now on get us a candidate and give us a signal that this is the candidate that we want and we follow. So we need to think about that before we make the next move. Are we then settling to give away our right as Zimbabweans to the war veterans?
I'll just answer Christopher there. The comment is on the screen. I think the most important thing to note here is that Geza is not fighting on the people's side. As much as he is using the people's suffering to further his own agenda. There's a subtle difference there. This is not the first time, in fact, that ZANU-PF thugs have used the people to rally the people, articulating the people's suffering. And when the objective is nearly accomplished or has been accomplished, the ZANU-PF thugs have turned around and said, they have denied the people even a meaningful say in the governance of the country. People like Geza and all the other war veterans, they cannot deny that they played a significant role these last 45 years in creating and sustaining the de facto one-party state in the country. You cannot deny that. Even those who may not have played an active role, they cannot deny that when they saw things going terribly wrong, they've done nothing. I think this is a video that we should all never ever forget. This is the electoral coup of 2008, led by none other than Mnangagwa himself, and many in the war veterans played a very significant role in what happened that year.
2008 patakaita ma-elections pakaposa papinda Tsvangirai ndandiri election agent ya president. Ma-results abuda tiri party headquarters vamutasa vanga vari secretary vedu ve-administration vamutasa muripi yafona ndiri kwarusapi komo gwenda kwarusapi seka ma-results achibuda kudai vanga aiwa zvako izvo Mnangagwa ndezvako endaenda kumusha ofisi vangabisa zvinhu zvavo zvose. Watofunga kuti zani yadini yaparara. President ofona zvakamira sei? Kati atomamira zvakaita takatodini kateda sei manje? Mama ndikati abvudzai baba nitaure navo. Baba gadzirai politburo, cabinet. Musarangarira zvimwe zvinhu, gadzirai chi cabinet. Asi nangoda kuti muzive kuti 2008 maresults abuda vamutasa vakatiza.
As a country, we face a generational transition. Vana vesa vari kuma below 35, they are crying out for help. The country is in a mess. Arusuru Faro. We know we are inheriting a mess. We know this country has been left with nothing.
I'm assuring you that starting from tomorrow, you'll see a different nation from what you have seen or read on the news about these results and everything. Where we are going ahead there, the situation will be very different. What we said to our people, they could not see with their own eyes. We are going to act as we see it fit. We are prepared to go the whole distance.
That is the political reality. My closing remarks to Zimbabweans out there is that after 45 years of rigged elections, we should have the courage to clearly define what the problem is. And in my view, the problem is the failed political system. The system that denied the ordinary citizen a meaningful say in the governance of the country, granted the war veterans the veto to say who should rule the country, and granted the ZANU-PF ruling elite the divine right to rule the country. That is the political system that we had since 1980. And that system has failed. What we need to change is the system, the dictatorship. Swapping one dictator for another is not the solution. And we should make it very clear to Geza and his friends that as much as we also are sick and tired of Mnangagwa, and much less his ambition to stay in power beyond 2028, we are not going to forget the primary objective, which is ending the dictatorship, and trade it off for the short-term gain of stopping Mnangagwa changing the constitution. We want to end the dictatorship. Swapping one dictator for another is no solution at all. That is my message to the people of Zimbabwe today. Ben, do you want to give your closing remarks?
In conclusion, I would want to say I don't believe that the liberation war was fought so that the war veterans have a turn at the presidency or at the table. I think the war was fought so that each and every Zimbabwean should have a say, an equal say in who governs the country. I think that was the purpose of the war. Now, this to say, the war veterans, because they, or the surviving war veterans, decide for millions who the next candidate will be. I think that is not right. That is the Smiths way. That is what we fought against. That is what they fought against. Now they're taking us right back there by choosing and denying each and every one of us a choice. They are simply placing a candidate, and that is, simply put, it's my way or the highway. That is what he is saying. And I urge every Zimbabwean to think about this. Is this what we are settling for? Is this how we want to decide each and every time we change leadership of our country? I don't think so. So let us not give them that, let us not give away our right to who governs the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Benjamin. And those of you who were able to join us, thank you very much for joining us. I hope you'll be able to do it again tomorrow, 6 p.m. UK time, 8 p.m. Zimbabwean time. Thank you, and have a good night.